Hello, everybody. 16 Psych, Chelsea Wolf here on KRFF 95.9 LPFM, RadioFreeFargo.org, streaming everywhere on this blue and green marble you hail from. We can get into your ear hole. I don't know if y'all from Fargo Moorhead, but it's like 60-some degrees today here, people. It's December. So, I don't know what kind of, parallel universe we're in. I'm cool with it. I can dig it, and I'll get down. So, enjoy, everybody. This is a beautiful day, as they say, that the Lord hath made. I'm going to be glad. That's for sure. I am going to be glad. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We talk about cannabis, the benefits of cannabis, legalization issues, just cannabis news in general. And again, if there's a story about an animal doing something precarious, we'll probably talk about it too. If there's a crazy Coke story, your boy's going to probably cover it. We've got a news story today where they busted this shop just for Delta 8 and they found like fentanyl and like blow-up dolls. It's a mess. Canna-Talk ND with the Wilson, though. That's what you're tapped into until 5 o'clock. Stinky Arts Music Mart after me. We got the mixtape. Then we've got the Artemis Blood Shrine. Wraps up your Thursday. And don't forget the other days, because those days has stuff going on, too. This is the best independent radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. And at the end of the year, we'd like a little money to keep doing it. So please consider making Radio Free Fargo 95.9 FM a part of your year-end giving. Radio Free Fargo receives no government funding, though we are a nonprofit, community, all-volunteer radio station. Nor are we receiving any grant money. As a nonprofit, we are not allowed to do traditional advertising like commercial radio stations do. You can make a donation at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org. Simply choose the donation button. Please help Radio Free Fargo continue with its mission to serve the Fargo-Moorhead area. Thank you. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I show him props every Sunday. Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue. 10 a.m. we do a recovery class. If you've got a monkey on your back or you've ripped said monkey off your back, but you can still feel that little banana eater's sticky fingers on your back, pant leg, come on through. 11 a.m. worship. I'm on stick duty. No, I'm not. But anyway, we'd love to see you there. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Black Cottage Alchemy does it 1,200 mgs of CBD, locally grown hemp, comfrey, myrrh, colloidal, and a bunch of other stuff. Just whippity whip in a little container that you put on your body. You'll be glad you did. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. Again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. We're going to talk about cannabis. I got some stories lined up. So that's cool. It's not like an amazing week in cannabis stories, but it's 61 degrees in Fargo, North Dakota. So, I had no excuse to come in. Plus, I'm playing a couple songs that I wanted to play again because I really dug them. So, you got me in the chair today. Every Thursday, 4 o'clock I get in here. 4:20, I open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And, man, set your watch to it. Or not. You don't have to. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. But anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Wrapping up another year. I've been at this a while, y'all. We still ain't got North Dakota legal yet, but that's all right. That's all right. I got patience. It's cool. It's cool. Minnesota, I can see Minnesota from here. So, when you're a border town and that state on the other side of the river, you're a bike ride away, it might as well be legal. And I'm not suggesting anything, of course. So, there you have it. I'm going to play probably a song, but I think I probably got to say this to you, though. You're listening to Radio Free Fargo 95.9 FM, community radio. You a business owner? You a manager of a nonprofit organization? Considering advertising? Why not learn what underwriting is on a nonprofit community radio station instead? To learn more about what underwriting is, please contact us at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org, or at our profile on Facebook. Why not let listeners know that you support the community by supporting a community radio station like this one, 95.9. Okay, now, I cannot wait to play this because I just loved it. And I'm kind of a fan of this guy, Weird Al. I Want a New Duck, 95.9. Oh, man, I Want a New Duck. One that doesn't build a nest in my bathroom sink. I mean, I'm sick of that. Aren't we all sick of that? If I had a nickel for every time the sinking duck made a nest in the stinking sink. But anyway, that was Weird Al. 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, that's me. We're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news at 4:20, but I'm going to break you off a sampler here quick. We're going to talk about Ohio. Ohio. Kind of got a brain slip there. Plus, Ohio is kind of fun to say now that I say it. Ohio. It's like Ohio, except you're saying hi. You know, it's kind of like the American version of Aloha. Ohio. I don't know. I'm done. I'm done doing it. I promise. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news at 4:20, though. And now I'm going to read you this, because that's what I'm supposed to do. Programming on KRFF, LPFM, Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 FM is being underwritten by Flatland Guitar in Lutherie. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, Paul Reed Smith guitars and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment. They take trade-ins and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar in Lutherie on Facebook or visit them in person at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturdays, 10 to 5. Closed on Sundays. Now, let's talk about Ohio, should we? So, I guess it's the 24th state to legalize recreational cannabis, but this one was a ballot initiative. So, you know, true to form, the legislators, they tried scrapping a lot of this stuff, and didn't work, of course, but not of course, you know. So, we'll talk here. So, aged adults 21 plus in Ohio can now possess, consume, and cultivate cannabis after the majority of state votes last month approved Issue 2, a cannabis legalization ballot initiative. So, it's now illegal. It took effect today. That's today, 30 days after the election. So how quick is that, right? Minnesota, I don't know if it was the same thing. Maybe it was. Under the new law, adults aged 21 and older can possess up to 2.5 ounces of cannabis or up to 15 grams of the extractorinos. Additionally, adults can grow up to 6 plants at home for personal use. Now, of course, they wanted to remove that home grow completely. They wanted you to... here's the thing. Ohio wanted... legislators, they wanted, if it didn't have a labeled package, if you didn't have a reference from the store in which you purchased it, you would be treated like cannabis was illegal for you. And no other states that I know of have done that, and that's kind of a slippery slope. I don't like it. Of course, it starts to cause a problem for black market, but again, we've established on this show, when you have enough states with legal cannabis, black market it's just a color word. You call it orange market. It's just really another way. It's like a farmer's market. Black market, you make it seem like, I got to put a bag over my head. I got to sit in the back of the late modeled caddy. We take a right and a left and a right and a left. And then, boom, they pop me into some weird alley and there's a door and I open it and, and then there's guns and it's scary. And, some guy's peeing in the alley right next to me. That feels like a black market, but it's not anything like that at all. Really, and what was I talking about last week? Connecticut, their prices are too high. Connecticut, they just don't have enough offerings now. Connecticut is new, and they've got states to either side of them, and so we'll talk about that too. But anyway, a week after voters opted to legalize, this governor, he called upon the state's legislature to make changes, such as limiting cannabis advertising, which I'm cool with, I guess, and increasing restrictions on public consumption. And side note, New York is the only state that I know of that's allowing public consumption. So a lot of people think, well, you legalize it, but then you illegalize it publicly. Well, everything's public, really, So anyways, this is a little side quote. As a native Ohioan who has been directly impacted by cannabis criminalization and witnessed the unequal and unjust way it is enforced, I'm overjoyed that adult cannabis consumers in the Buckeye State will no longer face the lifelong collateral consequences. And it voted by 2.2 million voters. So we'll see. The shift in Ohio marks the first time since federal prohibition was enacted that a majority of American citizens live somewhere with legal access to cannabis. I've got I've got another story here, I think. So it's from Cannabis Moment. Again, here's the voting. It was 57-42, so that's pretty good margin. A stakeholder said the overhaul would devastate the market. So, Republicans in the state indicated their plans to gut the bill, which they love to do, by eliminating home grow, reducing possession and allowable limits, raising sales tax, criminalizing the use and possession of cannabis obtained outside of a licensed retailer. Like, again, that's new to me. I don't love that at all. That sounds terrible. So they voted that off, so that's not going to happen at all. I'm going to play another musical song, and this is another encore, but I just love this one so much. Coyote Hearing from Marco Benevento. Marco Benevento. So without further ado, here's Coyote Hearing, 95.9. Thank you. Not too kind. All right, give me a little more. All right, a few seconds. Thank you, good night. Coyote Hearing, Marco Benevento, 95.9. And that's a live cut. There's actually a recorded version, but man, that song is sick, I feel. But it is what it is. It's not for everybody, probably. And I don't know what a Coyote Hearing is, but if it was it, this would be the song. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. 420, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And none of that would happen before this.
Hey, it's Phil from Cannaheads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
Here, let's stop it.
How about the sack?
All right, enough fooling around. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this show, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. 420, open bag of cannabis news. Man, I'm excited. Maybe I just drank a 300 meg caffeinated something. It doesn't matter. I'm here to talk about the facts, man. The facts. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Okay, I could. It's possible. All right. So, for those of you that just pulled up to the show, Ohio became legal today. And there was a lot of stuff that legislators, because first of all, it was a ballot initiative. And I don't know how many states have those, that wasn't legislatively driven, wasn't set in stone per se, ran through committees and passed. But this one is definitely one. And so, of course, all the little grubby hands of the manipulators, which sounds a lot like manipulator, feel me? That they wanted to remove all the stuff. They wanted to remove all the home grow. They wanted to reduce everything. And they wanted you to be criminalized for the use and possession obtained outside a licensed retailer. So basically, if you put it in your own container, if you just have it, because that's the kind of the beauty of the gray area now. You live in a legal state, but it's too expensive. But the guy down the street, old Jimmy, old trustworthy Jimmy, he's got you back. Well, in every other state, that's fine. But these guys want to literally differentiate and then prosecute. And that's crazy. And I'm surprised that isn't more popular, to be honest with you, because that sounds a lot like authoritarian, communist type stuff, If you ain't got it from a dispensary, prove it, then you're going to jail. I start feeling like, I should be wearing boots and marching all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? So I don't love it. And the ACLU of Ohio called the measure a demolition of issue 2, of issue 2. So Wednesday, however, the GOP-controlled Senate, they abruptly reversed course because people were driving them crazy. There was thousands and thousands of phone calls. They just were nuts, the people in Ohio. Among other changes, it would allow all adults 21 and older to buy from existing medical dispensaries in as soon as 90 days, so almost immediate. So that's awesome. You can still grow, but they cut down half the plants, so that's all right. Issue 2 kicks in on Thursday. That's today. So the current law, cultivation must take place within a secured closet. When do sales begin? In as little as 3 months. Consumers are supposed to obtain cannabis legally in the meantime. So sales of cannabis are legal until the regulated market is up and running, at which point only licensed operators will be able to sell the drug legally. Until then, consumers will technically have to grow their own or rely on sharing without payment, which is now also illegal in Ohio. Non-commercial transfers between adults are limited to possession amounts. Notably, however, the Senate-passed bill includes a ban on sharing home-cultivated cannabis among adults. So, under current law, division of cannabis will be established under the state law. It's not entirely clear if they're going to expunge cannabis convictions. So I'll keep you posted. If you're from Ohio, then you're from Ohio. High times. Drug makers struggle to replace stimulants with non-addictive alternatives. And replacing addictive drugs with non-stimulant ADHD meds is an uphill battle. You want to know why? Because they don't work. They don't work. I mean, you can get along. I get along. We're going to talk about how to fire up your endocannabinoid system. Cold showers, cold therapies in it. I use it daily, twice a day. I mean, there's things that I got to do to stay off the drugs for ADD. I'm so lazy, I don't like adding the H. I'm probably ADHD too, but whatever. The attention deficit market is a lucrative business. Stimulants, amphetamines, Ritalin continue to dominate the ADHD drug market across 7 markets. I heard somewhere that there's 40 million prescriptions out on Adderall. That just is wild. But the same drugs with high potential for abuse are also the ones that work best. So it's like they're trying to come up with something else, you know? The key opinion leaders in the treatment say that patients and parents have been hesitant to use stimulants for the treatment of ADHD, but this is changing with time, and so they're putting more of them on them. Marketing emphasis on abuse potential is common and non-stimulates both marketed and pipeline. So, there's 4 non-stimulants are commonly marketed: guanfacine, clonidine, atomoxetine, and vilaxine, and they're crap. And I've never known anybody to keep taking them because they just don't work. Now, I didn't realize that if you were between 3 and 5, they can start you on a 2.5 meg of Adderall. I didn't know that. And there was a study done that meth is almost identical to Adderall in terms of chemistry and its effects on the brain. And I can assure you, I love this stuff. You know, and so I feel like if I could manage it, you know, if I didn't have an addictive personality and I could manage it, I would consider, you know, getting a legit prescript. I just don't know if I can manage it. So there's just all these other things that you can do to make it a little easier, you know, omega-3s, blah, 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 blah. You really kind of just got to come up with a lot of coping mechanisms to keep yourself going. I'm talking about myself, sorry. High times. Tennessee authorities find cannabis cultivation site inside a church. Lord have mercy, huh? LEOs in Tennessee have shut down a cannabis site that was operating in a converted church, seizing about 2,000 plants in the process. The raid on the church, which was conducted last week by the sheriffs, was the result of a weeks-long investigation. That's hilarious, weeks long. How long's it got to be? You know what I mean? How long's it got to be? Just drive up, look in there. You smell something? Well, you need a week. The sheriff's office shut down the largest grow in county history. In a social media post, the sheriff's office noted that the deputies had been conducting an investigation for 3 weeks after local residents reported a strong odor emanating from the property. I mean, that's kind of something you should be thinking about as the planner, you know. The investigators conducted traffic stops to question people that they had seen coming from and going to the church, and were told that hemp was being grown at the site. So, sheriff deputies also investigated electricity and water usage, which is smart, which was originally built as a Methodist church in 1960 and later sold. Investigators learned that the grow operation had a water bill that was characterized by local media as high and was using about 3 grand per month in electricity. Last week, they got a search warrant, and in they went. 2,000 plants, including live plants and others that had already been harvested and dried. Cop fears possible booby traps. Well, I think you guys watch too many cartoons. The sheriff's office said the cultivation operation included elaborate lighting and watering systems. The possibility of booby traps laid out for law enforcement. They reported that investigators found a large amount of possibly toxic chemicals. The converted church is listed for sale on Zillow. The property is listed having 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. They were looking for a quick sale. So here, I don't know if they were renting it. So Tennessee is one of the only about a dozen U.S. states that have not adopted a comprehensive plan to legalize medical cannabis. Although a limited measure to legalize low THC CBD oil was passed in 2015. Possession of even small amounts is still a misdemeanor. Thank you for shutting this down, said one buddy. Our law enforcement is always on top. I mean, again, they didn't do anything. A busybody Karen called about the odor. They pursued the tip. These guys aren't, I wouldn't call them the next top geniuses. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's keep cruising. Man in Minnesota offers free grow classes to the public. Shout out Steve Rosenfeld. You guys looking how to grow? He wants to teach you how to grow in the ground floor basics, and he'll do it for free. It's a workshop to help people get a foot in the door of the industry. Minnesota adults are allowed to grow up to 8 plants before mature. Growing cannabis takes years of experience to master, but you got to start somewhere. Steve, who is the owner of a place in Moorhead, wants to share his expertise with the plant to others. Rosenfeld was hosting Cannabis 101 and 101 workshops held on the last Tuesday of each month at the Midtown Tavern in Moorhead. Locals say the skills they're picking up will be valuable. Really nice to be able to learn how to grow your own and not have to go to the store. I might have to go to this. There's still a lot of stigma. People are skittish of even being seen in here, so it was kind of a surprise to have as many people turn out. Each class attracted a dozen of curious would-be growers of all ages. Some are reluctant to grow due to the lingering stigma. Last month, governor signed the state's bill into law, and there you have it. So, the home limit at 32 ounces or 2 pounds, you only can have 2 out, and what are you doing with more than that? Seems a little crazy. So, we got here, this Delta 8 smoke shop raid yielded fentanyl, cocaine, and guns. So, a recent raid on several unregulated dispensaries and smoke shops in San Diego, some of which were operating within 1,000 feet of schools, yielded a large amount of illicit narcotics, including 60,000 pills of the fentanyl, as well as cocaine, methamphetamine, and ecstasy. Police in San Diego recently executed a drug bust targeting just unregulated dispensaries, and it led to the discovery of a large volume of hard drugs and firearms. The shops targeted the raids, including Cannably, Elevated, and Best Buds, and they were pinpointed in the course of an investigation. 6 suspects are now in custody. They uncovered a loaded ghost gun. It has no traceable serial number. They found 60,000 pills, 5,000 pills of ecstasy, nearly 9 pounds of coke, which sounds like a lot, and 5 pounds of meth. That's kind of a lot. We're talking, I don't know, $50,000 maybe? Was it $10,000 a pound? I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in the game. These unregulated dispensaries were also reported selling Delta 8 and Delta 10 that have proliferated widely in the U.S. since 2018. The DEA disputed this interpretation earlier this year, saying that these compounds are Schedule I controlled substance. Colloquially referred to as gas station weed, these hemp-derived compounds certainly operate in a legal gray area throughout most of the country. And like I said, when I was in Tennessee in the Blue Ridge Mountains, there were so many different alternate cannabinoid combinations, HHC, TCP. Crying out loud. I think they worked. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. Delta 10, Delta 11. So anyway, if you're looking to boost your endocannabinoid system, there are plenty of ways to do it without cannabis. And again, it kind of just helps the cannabis, so doesn't mean without it. It just means it kind of preps you to be better for it. and just in life in general. Like I said, I incorporate a lot of these, and it's it's kind of like I said, a slow. It's been a week since somebody made their horse snort a line of MDMA. So I'd love to be able to tell you pigs are now racing on opiates, opiate racing pigs. But that isn't the case. So we're going to talk about this. So leafy greens, which I believe gave me a kidney stone, so boo on them. But there's a terpene in leafy greens that activates the CB2 receptor, and it reduces paranoia and some of the unwanted effects of cannabis. And also, foods high in fat appear to be counteractive and lower the activity of the receptor. Exercise is good. Once you exercise lifted, you'll never go back. Take our word for it. Take my word for it. Research also has demonstrated that exercise significantly upregulates CB1s and enhances CB1's receptor sensitivity. Anecdotal reports suggest that a brisk exercise will make a significant difference, increase the pleasant effects from this phenomenon. Omega-3. If you're not getting right enough, you might not be incorporating enough omega-3 fatty acids. Show that omega-3 fatty acids increase the synthesis of endocannabinoids and upregulate both the CB1 and CB2 receptors. So, some scientists have suggested that CB1 receptors may not even form correctly without the presence of O3 fatty acids. So make sure you get them in your diet. Cold showers, also doing it. It'll tighten your pores, but potentially provide other benefits as well. Researchers observed that cold exposure was significantly linked to an increased density of CB1 receptors. And I'll tell you, winter water in the northern part of the country is awesome. Now, you're going to have to be gangster because it's cold, but you just do it, playa. Get in there. And you just turn on it full blast and rock and roll. And it's crazy. I mean, so cannabis moment. 6 governors push Biden to ensure cannabis is rescheduled by the end of the year. They are urging the administration to reschedule cannabis to Schedule 3, and only because that's what those Department HHS and the FDA, they're the ones that suggested 3. I don't know. It's stupid. But 88% of Americans support cannabis for medical or rec use. As governors, we might disagree about whether it should be is a net positive, but the cannabis industry is here to stay. So, if the state legal marketplace doesn't survive, then we will see unsafe products in every street corner. And again, I don't know. I don't know if I read this last week. High Times, drug trafficker turned informant. He offered up his private island in hopes of leniency. Do you think that would work? I don't know. I'd consider it. How many trees is on it? Does it have any cool animals? But anyway, he handed over his deed to the private island off the coast of Dubai to Italian authorities to try and sway them to give him a lighter sentence for his many crimes. This international drug trafficker has ties to reputed super cartels, which that sounds crazy, as well as the Italian mafia, which don't sound great either. He's handed over the ownership rights to his multi-million-dollar private island in an attempt to try and reduce the sentence. He had police raid one of his homes in Naples, and they found 2 original Vincent van Gogh paintings, estimated to be worth more than $58 million each. Woo! Paintings had reportedly been stolen in a heist in 2002. He spent 5 years on the run before being arrested in Dubai and extradited to Italy in 2022. Imperiali, which is a great name, I feel, is now staring down the barrel of a lengthy prison sentence after evading arrest in Dubai for several years. He faces over 14 years of prison. Imperiali has been cooperating with authorities by giving them information on international crime syndicates he brushed shoulders with. He also offered them something bigger, his man-made private island. The island, called Taiwan, it's worth anywhere from 60 to 80 million. And on Monday, he signed it to the Italian prosecutors. So it is clear that Imperial wants sentence reductions. We are assessing the validity of his statements. There seem to be no doubts about their genuineness. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, the super cartel controlled about 1/3 of the cocaine trade in Europe. The Camorra Mafia family, these guys are gangsters. Super cartel was allegedly led by Imperiali and Ridouan Taghi, formerly the most wanted criminal of the Netherlands. Danielle Kinahan, He's the boss of an Irish criminal group and Bosnian drug trafficker DIDNT. And I pronounced that properly. Thank you. Authorities have alleged that Imperial helped run one of the 50 largest drug trafficking operations in the world. He was rumored to have spent over $400,000 every single month while he was on the run in Dubai. They searched one of his homes. They found 80 firearms, a grenade, 3 rifles. He also had over 5,000 rounds of ammunition. That sounds like a lot. So, no word has yet been released at this time if this and whether or not Imperial's island offering will have any definitive effect on his sentencing. I mean, would it give him half? If they give him half, is that good enough? Now, let's say this. Like I said, Ohio is now legal. Cleveland updates pre-employment drug testing policies for most city workers as Ohio cannabis legalization takes effect. So, the city has announced that they have modernized its drug testing policy. Well, do tell. Eliminating antiquated language around pre-employment testing. Just forgot how to talk. The criminalization of cannabis in our state has had a criminal blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the city will only conduct cannabis screening for selected positions that are identified as safety, security sensitive, especially DOT. That means testing will still be in effect for police, firefighters. Pre-employment screening can oftentimes create obstacles in filling open positions. Of course it will. Several states, such like California, New York, they have done away with whatever. Cleveland is looking for ways to help fill more than 800 vacant positions, including 300 police jobs. Let's see. All right. So, there you have it. And we're going to talk about this here. MJ Biz Daily. Minnesota adds fast-acting delivery method to medical cannabis program, which I don't understand this per se, because if you can buy flour and you can buy pre-rolls, why can't you dry herbs? So anyway, Minnesota cannabis dispensaries medically might get a boost next August when they'll be allowed to sell fast-acting dry herb vaporization products. And that don't make any sense to me because it's just paraphernalia. Dispensaries may sell dry herb vaporization products. The new method will join 3 other fast-acting products, combustible smoking, oil-based vapes, and sublingual tinctures. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just non-combustible smoking. And I didn't know it was impossible. The victory with dry herb approval says they rejected petitions for plants, concentrates, weed, as well as qualifying conditions such as anxiety, ADHD, and opioid use disorder. However, in July, Minnesota regulators did expand by adding IBS and OCD. So, I don't know what that means, but there you go. Now, DEAs from Cannabis Moment. You're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, by the way. Every Thursday I get in here at 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and that's what we're dancing around in right now. After me, Stinky Arts Music Mart, then we've got Artemis Blood Shrine. Wraps up your Thursday, 95.9. Again, I'm Wilson, Canna-Talk ND. With me is about done. DEA threatens Georgia pharmacies over dispensing medical cannabis under state law. So I feel like you start talking too loud, the DEA is going to hear you. Georgia recently became the first state to allow pharmacies to sell medical cannabis, with nearly 120 facilities applying to sell cannabis oil as of October. But now, federal drug enforcement agencies warning pharmacies that dispensing THC is unlawful because it remains a Schedule 1. All DEA registrants, including pharmacies, are required to abide by all blah, 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 blah. So, you can't possess it, you can't handle it. So, we don't know. One potential complicating factor is a congressional budget rider that prevents the Department of Justice from spending resources to interfere with the implementation. It's not immediately clear how DEA squares its threat against the pharmacies that provide it. So we'll see. But here's the letter. Recently, the state of Georgia provided guidance to pharmacies on the dispensing of certain THC. All DEA registrants, including DEA-registered pharmacies, are required to abide by all relevant federal laws and regulations. So, there you go. I'm just going to read some quick titles off here just to wrap up things. Key GOP congressman says Washington, D.C. should be able to legalize cannabis sales without federal interference. Congressmen file new bill to end cannabis prohibition in legal states. Again, Ohio is now legal. Alabama applicants for vertically integrated medical cannabis businesses licensed make their cases today. Florida Medical Cannabis Company has corked a block legalization initiative. So whatever. Study finds no evidence that cannabis medically causes cognitive impairment. So there you have it. Anyway, Illinois cannabis retailers set record for sales to in-state residents. Let's see what that is. Okay, where are we at here? 1123. I don't know. Sold more cannabis in November than ever before. It's up from a record 3.74. So anyway, there's been more than $1.5 billion in total retail sales in Illinois. That's crazy. So anyway, you've been listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's me on 95.9. We've now come to the part where I read about Drummer's Journey. Programming on 95.9 FM, Radio Free Fargo, KRFFLP, is being underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments, hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have full service for drummers, including repair, custom building, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located at Highway 10 East Mall in Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5. Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check drummersjourney.com. They have a profile on Facebook. Now, I'm going to play you some brand new music. This is from Talk, spelled T-A-U-K. This is Sound the Alarm. It's brand new, 95 point. Wait, I pushed it on the wrong spot. Let's do it again. This is Sound the Alarm, Talk, 95.9. Woo, Sound the Alarm, Talk, brand stinking new on KRFF 95.9 LPFM, Moorhead, Fargo. Streaming everywhere on the blue and green marble. We can get in your ear hole. RadioFreeFargo.org. Streaming all the time. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, about out the door. Stinky Arts Music Mart up next. Stay tuned. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I worship him every Sunday. Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue. 10 a.m. we do a recovery class. 11 a.m. we put our hands in the air for the man upstairs. Come on through. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 megs of locally grown CBD whipped up into this beautiful blended mixture of beautifulness for your skin. Thank you, Black Cottage Wow, what did I just start saying? Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. And thank you for sponsoring this show. Again, I'm about out the door, so educate yourselves on the benefits of cannabis. You can educate others on said benefits. I'll be back in next Thursday. And we're getting closer to that day where that big fat guy goes down that little hole. Ho, ho, ho. So, again, be thankful, be grateful, do something kind for somebody. And we'll all get back here together next Thursday, 4 o'clock. So again, be good to yourself, be good to others. I tell you to stay warm, but you ain't got to. It's 60 degrees outside. Come on. All right, I'm out the door. I'll be back next Thursday. Have a good one. David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.